Hey guys, this is Obo1000, and we're going to be looking at Marincess on Master Duel. Now, yes, I am using Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, but this is simply just so I could have everything showcased like I did in the Fluffle video, so let's just get on with it. Because in Master Duel, I believe that Marincess is the strongest there. In the TCG, it's been kind of crippled. I will show you near the end, but Master Duel is exactly where this deck is at its best. It can be a really toxic deck. It can be really, really toxic. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah, we'll get to that. We will get to that. But right, in the meantime, let's focus on the monsters, and then spells, and then traps, and all the other miscellaneous stuff like we did last time. I'll try not to take as long as I did in the Fluffle video, and partly that is because there isn't as many Marincess cards to keep track of in comparison with the cards in Fluffle. And so, as a result, it should hopefully go by quicker. And I also hope that I don't keep going, constantly. That, I imagine, got really annoying, trying, not used to this. But without any further ado, this is Marincess in Master Duel. Okay, we'll start off with the main monster. This is Marincess Blue Tang. So if this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard except Marincess Blue Tang. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for the link summon of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add one excavated Marincess card to your hand, also shuffle the rest into your deck. Only use each effect of Marincess Blue Tang once per turn. So you can do both in the same turn. So yeah, it's just a foolish burial, and it also excavates and potentially gets you more cards. And this is really, 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 really good. This is probably it's the best starter in the deck, if you ask me. You always want to see this card. So, and the reason why is because of the next monster, and this is Marincess Seahorse. So, you can special summon this card from your hand to a zone a Marincess Link monster points to. You can only special summon Marincess Seahorse once per turn this way, and that's the main effect. That is more or less the main effect that you care about, but the second effect, during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon one water monster from your hand to your zone a Marincess Link monster points to. You can only use each effect of Marincess Seahorse once per turn. Yep. Yeah, there you go, I said so you would ideally send Marincess Seahorse to the graveyard, and the reason why you would send Seahorse to the graveyard is because of a monster called Marincess Blue Slug. And I'll quickly go over it here. I know I'm going a little bit non-linear this time, but this is important to keep note of. So, one level 4 lower Marincess monster, it's a Link 1. It requires one monster. So, yeah, this deck is pretty good when it comes to its starters. So, if this card is Link summoned, you can target one Marincess monster in your graveyard except Marincess Blue Slug. Add it to your hand. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except water monsters. You can only Link summon Marincess Blue Slug once per turn. Interesting that it doesn't say once per turn you can use the effect when it's Link summoned, but yeah, there you go. That's how it is. And so what you would do is, if you notice the Link arrow, how it's pointing straight down, and that's the only arrow, and then with this summon to the arrow, you can kind of see where this is going. But yeah, you just add it from the graveyard to the hand using Marincess Blue Slug. So when you link with Blue Tang, this would go to the graveyard, then you'd get the excavate, and you'd excavate more Marincess monsters. So, pretty good already. And there are other targets for Marincess Blue Tang to send to the graveyard. Case in point, Trickstar Aqua Angel. This card is always treated as a Marincess card. This is the most recent Marincess support that we've had, to my knowledge. They didn't need to do this, but I'm very glad they did. Link monsters that point to this card cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of Trickstar Aqua Angel once per duel. Important to keep in mind. If you control a Trickstar or Marincess monster, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. So yeah, if you sent this card to the graveyard using Blue Tang, then basically you can summon it from the graveyard just like that, but again, once per duel. If you control Trickstar or Marincess Monster, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, you can look at all cards in your opponent's hand and set cards they control. Oh, yep, yeah. So, there is a deck out right now. I'm going to quickly go over this, but it's called Kewl Tune, or, well, right, the English version is called, I'll just type in Tune. Oh, never mind. Well, yeah, okay, it's called Kewl Tune, alright, oh, cool. Is it? Yeah, oh, this throws me off. Right, Kewl Tune, or just Kewl Tune, let's be honest. This is basically just released in Master Duel right now. You're going to see this all the time, alright? So, there you go, I said again. This card, Kewl Tune Q, this has literally more or less... Wait, is it this one, or...? Yeah, no, it's this one. Right, Kewl Tune Rotary. So, all you care about, really, because we're not going over Kewl Tune today, I'm just wanting to point out, look at your opponent's hand, then you can add one Kewl Tune spell trap from your deck to your hand. This happens when you use it as material for a Synchro Summon. So, yeah, this deck has the ability to do exactly what Kewl Tune does. Yeah. But again, once per duel, alright? So you gotta make it count. And finally, the last monster that you would potentially send to the graveyard through Blue Tang is Marincess Mandarin, or Mandarin, yeah, Mandarin. If you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Water Link monster you control and special summon this card to a zone that monster points to, but banish it when it leaves the field. Only use this effect of Marincess Mandarin once per turn. So, yeah, all 3 of these have more or less graveyard effects. I mean, you do too. Your graveyard effect, banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one monster from your hand to a zone, Marincess. Yeah. So, all of them have graveyard effects, all of them great for Blue Tang. You would always want to send Seahorse to the graveyard though, that is the card that you always want to send. However, if you already have Seahorse in your hand, you can also just send Trickster, Aqua Angel, or Marincess Mandarin. Ideally, you would probably just want to send... yeah, you'd want to send Aqua Angel, because that gives you hand knowledge, you know? Very important. Yeah. What's great as well about this deck is it technically has 2 1-card starters. You could just use Marincess Seahorse, Seahorse link into Blue Slug bring back Seahorse to hand, Seahorse then special summons itself, and then, yeah, you just keep popping off from there. Alright. Marincess Spring Girl. You can banish one Marincess monster from your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. Yeah, it just gets you more monsters on the field. Really good. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for the link summon of a water monster, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control. Then, if a Marincess cards was sent to the graveyard by this effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Marincess card sent. You only use each effect of Marincess Spring Girl once per turn, so you can use both effects. When this came out, obviously we're going over Master Duel here, but when this came out in the TCG, this was sort of like how you would win on time, essentially. Obviously now time rules, they're different and all that, but yeah, this is your more or less time thing. But it's another level 4 as well, and we'll go over why level 4s are important in just a moment. Trust me, they're important. You'll see this later, okay? Marincess Pasculus. If this card is normal special summoned, you can special summon one Marincess monster from your hand in defense position, except Marincess Pasculus. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Marincess spell or trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Only use each effect once per turn. So this is a bit more of a gambler card, I would argue. Mostly just because of the fact that when you summon this monster, you then need to basically pray or, like, hope that they don't imperm or, like, veiler it, essentially. Because if they do that, then it just sort of, like, you don't get the excavation effect then, and the excavation effect is sometimes incredibly important, because what if you, like, what if you get DD crowed with the Marincess Seahorse, essentially? Yeah. Right. Okay. Marincess Basil. I'm just calling it Basil. Alright? Just call it Basil. If a monster you control be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each of the following effects of Marincess Basil once per turn. You can banish one Marincess trap from your graveyard, add one Marincess trap of a different name from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can target one face-up monster you control. It gains 600 attack. You don't really care about the Marincess trap effect. Truth be told, the Marincess traps, apart from this, all kind of suck. The thing you care about the most with Marincess Basil is essentially just protecting your monsters from just destruction. I'd say it is probably the... It's not... Okay, no, it's not the worst Marincess monster in the deck, but it's definitely, like, up there. You could cut this and you'd probably be fine. The main monsters you want are just these. These are the main ones to go for. But I would still personally have this just because of the fact that it is really good just having that one card that you can use to protect your cards with. And plus, if you late into the game you don't know what else to send with Marincess Blue Tang, there you go. Send this, essentially. Just another layer of protection. And then we have the last three Marincess monsters. So, Marincess Sleepy Maiden. You can target one Marincess card you control, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it gains this effect. While this card is in the monster zone, the targeted card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Marincess Link monster you control, equip it with one Marincess Link monster... Equip it with one Marincess Link monster from your graveyard. Yep, alright. So, the main thing that you do with this is you use Sleepy Maiden to protect your Battle Ocean. Battle Ocean in this deck is the single most important card in your deck, period. This is the card that you are actively fighting for in every single game. You need this. I'll go over it in a moment, but you'll quickly see how important this card is. And Sleepy Maiden, it is great that it can protect it, but for the most part, it doesn't pan... Like, the problem is it's a level 5. If this were a level 4, it would be really, really good. You would just be able to use it anyway for going into Blue Slug or Sea Angel, because Sea Angel, spoiler, is also a Link 1. With Blue Slug, Link 1, yep. But they all have level 4 lower and level 4 lower, so because this is level 5, you can't utilize that. Yeah, not that great. But hey, you know, it's a way to protect your Battle Ocean. That's something to consider. Then we get to the two worst Marincess monsters in the entire, like, game, basically. During damage calculation, if a monster battles another monster, quick effect... Oh, Marincess Crown Tail. Quick effect, you can send one other Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, the damage you take from that battle is halved. At the start of the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks, you can banish this card from your graveyard. This turn you take no battle damage, that is less than or equal to total link ratings of the Marincess Link monsters in your graveyard. It's more so like defense or something. Yeah, like... yeah. Just trust me, with this card, you more or less don't really need it. I mean, there are other monsters in your deck that are just as defensively powerful as Crownter, if not more. No, more. Absolutely more. You will quickly see that you don't really care too much about defense, because this deck has a lot of usage with hand traps. We'll get onto that again in a bit. And then let's go on to the worst Marincess monster. Marincess Sea-Star. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one Marincess monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. You can use this effect of Marincess Sea-Star up to twice per turn. Yeah. It's basically just... It's the equivalent of that one Blackwing card. Blackwing... Yeah, this. It's basically a worse version of this. A worse version of this. And I don't play Edison much, but I assume this is used in Edison. So, like, if you're worse than the monster from Edison... Yeah, no. You're not as bad as Fluffle Leo, but I'm still just gonna do this. Bye-bye. Alright, that's all the Marincess main monsters. Let's get on to the two spells you mostly just care about. There's only two. Battle Ocean. Like I said, the most important card in your deck. Genuinely the most... the whole reason Marincess works is because of this field spell. So, all Marincess monsters you control gain 200 attack. Also, each one gains 600 attack for each Marincess card equipped to it. Monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart, which is this card here. We'll get to that. As a material, are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Unaffected. Yeah. This basically turns Marincess into towers. It's Adignista, more or less. And we're not done. We are not done. When you link summon a Marincess monsters, Marincess monster to the extra monster zone, except during the damage step, you can equip up to 3 Marincess Link monsters with different names in your graveyard to that link summon monster. Not once per turn. That part of the effect is not once per turn, so if you keep linking into the extra monster zone, you can keep equipping monsters, link monsters, Marincess Link monsters from your graveyard to them, and it becomes just... This will be important for like a later really toxic strategy, but also it just makes it so that you gain plus 200 and plus 18 because you basically equip up to 3, so it's plus 2000 for any Marincess Link monster. So it's Blue Slug, it would be 3500, 3000, just 2000, 4000, 4000. Yeah, you can see how this climbs exponentially. It's crazy. And because this is what makes your Link monsters the towers, that's why this card is so important. If this card gets removed from the field in any way, your Marincess monsters stop becoming towers completely. So that's important. Now, Marincess Dive. Activate one of the following effects. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except water monsters. But that's fine, because we're mostly playing water monsters, apart from hand traps. Target one non-link Marincess monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If a Marincess Battle Ocean is in your field zone, special summon one Marincess monster from your deck. You can only activate one Marincess Dive per turn. So, my favourite thing to do with Marincess Dive is if I know that I can already go into my boss monster, I would use Dive. I would then go into Pasculus, and then I would special summon Pasculus from the deck. Pasculus would then special summon a monster from the hand, so then you just instantly have 2 level 4s for you to go into the Xyz Stealth Kraken. We'll get into Stealth Kraken. It'll be at the end. Trust me, alright? Trust me. Or close to the end. Right. But yeah, ideally you just want a ton of bodies on the field, and this is a really good way of doing this. And then finally, for the Marincess main deck cards, you have Marincess Wave. So, and this is the only good trap card, like I said before. If you control a Marincess Link monster, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate that face-up monster's effects until the end of this turn. Then, if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. So, not just whatever monster you use to summon with Crystal Heart as a Link material, just all of it. All of them. They're all unaffected. But it's only until the end of the turn though, so keep that in mind. And even better, if you control Link for your higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So you don't even need a set, just perfect. It's basically, I would go as far as to say that this card is just genuinely like a better imperm for this deck. However, saying that, you'd only ever run one of this card. Mostly just because, like, this deck only really has one way to search for trap cards, and that is with Marincess Kewl Triangle. I know I keep saying that, but we'll get to it later. And with Marincess Wave, it being the only trap card, it's link free as well. It's just a bit, you have to go out of your way to get Marincess Wave, but yeah, that's why you only really won one. Just you'll see eventually. And then I shall go into the Link monsters. I already went over Blue Slug. Yeah, I went over Blue Slug. I'll quickly go over again. All you need to know, it just adds a Marincess monster from graveyard to hand. Okay? And now, let's actually go over the rest of them. Okay, so, with Marincess Sea Angel, one level 4 lower Marincess monster. This card is Link summoned. You can add one Marincess spell from your deck to your hand. So, Marincess Sea Angel is why you don't have terraforming. So, you would just use this to get Battle Ocean, essentially. Yeah. And that is all it does. It also makes Sea Angel your most important. So this is kind of the choke point of the deck. If Sea Angel gets absolutely negated, then that's it. You won't be able to see Battle Ocean again unless you get like lucky with Blue Tang. So you want to do everything possible to make sure that Sea Angel does not get negated. If you aren't able to see Battle Ocean, there is a way for you to more or less continue on and make a decent end board, but it won't be anywhere near as good as if you had Battle Ocean. But yeah, just prioritize Sea Angel. And one thing I would recommend you do is you try and chain block with Sea Angel. So, for instance, if you link Sea Angel using Marincess Blue Tang, go Sea Angel chain 1 and then Blue Tang chain 2 so they cannot Ash Blossom the Sea Angel. Just make sure you just have this card, the most important Marincess card. Honestly, I can't stress enough, okay? Can't stress enough. Marincess Crystal Heart. Truth be told, you don't really care about the effect. You don't care about it. Like, all this card is just for Battle Ocean. Like, its main effect is literally stated on like Battle Ocean's text, essentially, but it does have like an actual effect, so let's just quickly go through it. So, unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, while this card is in the extra monster zone. During the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster is unaffected by card effects except its own. When this card or your Marincess Link monster this card points to is targeted for an attack, can send one Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard for that battle. Your monster cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. So, I don't know who would leave Crystal Heart just lying on the field, but I mean, I guess important to know if that ever happens, but that would never happen. You would almost never have Marincess Crystal Heart just left on the field like that. You always use it to link with it into Battle Ocean. What's good though, and we're gonna get into this, but it has 0 attack. In fact, one thing you need to keep in mind of is that all the Marincess monsters, or most of the Marincess monsters, are going to have less than 1500 attack. And there's a reason for that. It's thanks to Marincess Call an Enemy. So, 2 water monsters. You can target 1 water monster with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard. So, this, by the way, just want to point out, this is not Marincess monsters. This is water monsters that have 1500 or less attack. This is important for later. It's important for later, trust me. Alright. Yeah. Special summoned it to a zone this card points to. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of its turn except for water monsters. So, yeah, exactly like Blue Slug, where it locks you into water, and also Marincess Dive, where that also locks you into water. Important to note again. And so yeah, it basically it reborns your monsters from the graveyard, and what's great as well is you can reborn Crystal Heart, and that's a Link 2, so you can use them to go into your Link 4s, and then the Link 4s basically become towers thanks to Battle Ocean. It gets out of hand completely for the opponent if they don't stop you very early on. Later on I will go over the key cards that you want to bear in mind, because there will be cards that can absolutely shut this deck down. But for the most part, just if you focus on trying to get up to your Link 4s with Crystal Heart. Okay, so Marincess Marbled Rock, this is more or less just an extender. It's a Link 3, 2+ water monsters. Target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except Marincess Marbled Rock. Add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Marincess Marbled Rock once per turn. So yeah, it sort of like recurs your cards. So, for example, if Call an Enemy is in your graveyard and you don't have any other ways of building back up your board, then you would use Marbled Rock, add back Call an Enemy, and then just keep going from there. Oh, and speaking of Call an Enemy, you would essentially use it to add back any monster as well, if this is sent to the graveyard too. Marincess Monster, I believe. Or card, yeah, Marincess card. Yeah. So these two, really good for recurring and stuff. But also, once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard. For that battle, monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, also you take no battle damage. This is really good if you don't have any way of beating over, like, a monster. Truth be told, Marincess, they aren't exactly the greatest at removal. They more or less, for the most part, the removal that they have is just how strong they get. I mean, remember, we're going to go up to 4,500 attack, so that should beat around most things, but if you're going up against, like, Galaxy Eyes or something, that's going to be incredibly difficult to go around, so you would use Marincess Marbled Rock, and that would also more or less just stall for a little bit, or potentially just make it tricky for the opponent to get around. It's more or less the Sabertooth of this deck, the Fright for Sabertooth, except it doesn't really reborn anything from the graveyard, it just recurs, but still really good. The better Link 3 though, however, is Kewl Triangle. So 2+ Marincess monsters. You can send one water monster from your hand to your graveyard, add 1 Marincess trap from your deck to your hand. So yes, this is the only way of getting a trap card from your deck to your hand, a Marincess trap card. This searches it, okay? And again, you do have to go out of your way in order to go into Triangle. In fact, most of the time, if you're using Triangle, you will not be going into Crystal Heart. But that's fine. That's okay, because if you want to go into Kewl Triangle, then it's probably better to do so, because you get a negate, and remember, your monsters will still be unaffected by your opponent's card effects. It'll just only be until the end of the turn. But again, as well, you can just use Marbled Rock or Call an Enemy to add this back, and then keep, like, next turn, and then keep going, yeah. Pretty good. And then it gets better. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon water link monsters from your graveyard. Oh wait, sorry. If only your opponent controls a monster, apologies. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon Water Link monsters from your graveyard whose combined link ratings equal exactly 3. You can only use each effect of Marincess Call Triangle once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate either of this card's effects except water monsters. So you will almost never see the second effect happen, but my god, you will win games from that second effect if you just remember. If you just remember that second effect, because if you somehow manage to survive and you've got no monsters on your field, you could just banish this and then just get Call an Enemy and then potentially like Sea Angel and then just make like you basically have a Link 2 and a Link 1, which then obviously because Call an Enemy it special summons from the graveyard, it will be enough for you to go back into your Link 4s. And speaking of, let's actually talk about the Link 4s. So, Marincess Great Bubble Reef, 2+ water monsters. Once per turn, during each standby phase, you can banish one water monster from your graveyard or face-up field, and draw one card. Each time a monster is banished face-up, this card gains 600 attack for each until the end of this turn. So it's funny, you could do this with a Bazilma, and just... I mean, you wouldn't, because you'd want to keep Bazilma in your graveyard, but it would just be funny if this keeps getting attacked. This is your highest attacking monster in the deck. So if you want to beat over something, definitely use this. But also, it's just really good the fact that you can banish and draw a card, because you will most likely just be drawing into hand traps. So having a bigger hand, really good. You can send one water monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon one of your banished Marincess monsters. So it literally does stuff in banish as well, so whenever your Marincess monsters get banished, it's not the end. Yeah. So Great Bubble Reef is the monster you would go into if you do not have Battle Ocean. And the reason why you would do that is because, again, it's the highest attacking Marincess monster. It would draw you a card during the standby phase, so you'd have more likelihood of getting a hand trap. That is more or less it, really. I mean, yeah, it would still suck, but hey, this again, because this deck uses hand traps, you would hopefully just be able to cripple your opponent so that next turn you can try again and go into like your Sea Angel and all that nonsense. Right, now, this is the main boss monster. This Aqua Agonaut. To my knowledge, she came out during Legendary Duelist of the Deep, which everyone clowns on, and I get it. Legendary Duelist of the Deep, yeah, it sucked. It did completely suck. However, if there's anything to come out from that set, it was this. Obviously, it wasn't meta-defining when it came out, but it was just a nice boost. It was a really nice boost to Marincess, and is what is going to lead into, like, this crazy stuff we're going to do. I believe it also brought us Triangle and Spring Girl. So, Legendary Duelists, still not great, but I will always sort of respect it for giving us more Marincess stuff. Now, anyway, this card. Get ready. While this card is in the extra monster zone, your opponent's monsters cannot attack any monsters except this one. You can only use each of the following effects of Marincess Aqua Agonaut once per turn. You can target one more water monster you control, and one card your opponent controls, return them to the hand. So this is basically your main remover, but as you can see from all the others, there aren't many other great cards that remove, and it does have to target, so it won't be able to get rid of monsters that cannot be targeted. But still, you know, the fact that we have like a removal, that's pretty good. It just, unfortunately, you would have to have another water monster you control. You can of course target itself as well, but why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now, here we go. This is the best effect from this card. During your opponent's turn, when a spell/trap card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can special summon one of your Marincess monster cards equipped to this card, and if you do, negate that activated effect. So bear in mind, let me paint a picture here. So, thanks to Crystal Heart, and also Battle Ocean, unaffected by your opponent's effects period, monster trap, spell, all that. Gaining 2000 attack from Battle Ocean, so it will be on 4300. It's a spell trap negate, and it's a removal. And you can only attack into it. So this is the monster that you are always going to go into. More than likely. And for good reason. And bear in mind, again, I know I keep reiterating this, but you get the hand traps, so it's complete and total disruption with this deck. Just fully. And then finally, for the last link 4, we have Marincess Wonderheart. So, once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card battles a monster, quick effect, you can special summon one of your Marincess monster cards equipped to this card. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by that battle, and you take no battle damage from that battle. Equip that special summon monster to this card during the end phase. If this card in its own possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon one link 3 or lower Marincess monster from the graveyard. You don't use this. You do not use this in Marincess. Couple reasons. So, why would this card in its owner's possession be destroyed? Because, like, why? Why would that happen? Because realistically, it would be protected under Battle Ocean and Crystal Heart. So that effect kind of doesn't make it. That just doesn't warrant using, really. It could not be there, and it wouldn't really change much. And then, in terms of battling, it is nice the fact that you can get more bodies on your field to attack with, but why would you do that when you could instead just attack with Great Bubble Reef, where Great Bubble Reef has much more attack, and on top of that, is going to essentially draw you a card every time in your standby. Not even just your standby phase, during each standby phase. So, yeah, it's just not worth it. I just can't recommend it. Alright, and to round out the Link monsters, because we've went over all the Marincess monsters, let's round out the rest of them. Splash Mage, Water Monster. You should know what this does. 2 Cyverse monsters. All of your Marincess monsters are Cyverse monsters, except for Trickstar Aqua Angel. This is the only one that is not a Cyverse. Keep this in mind, okay? Because it's easy to forget. It is very easy to forget that this is not a Cyverse monster. Alright? You don't want to make that mistake, trust me. Okay. But yeah, you can target one Cyverse monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, but negate its effects. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of this turn except Cyverse monsters. A really good thing about Splash Mage, less than 1500 attack. So, can special summon it with Call on Enemy. And two Link 2s, Link 4. Easy. Really good. Area the Water Charmer Gentle. I probably butchered that name completely, but hey, you know. 2 monsters, including a water monster. Can target one more water monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your zone this card points to. This link summon card is destroyed by battle or destroyed by an opponent's card effect while in its owner's monster zone. You can add one water monster 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So, this card, this monster, you will almost never see it. You will almost never see this card. In fact, I don't blame you if you want to cut this out of your deck completely, because what this boils down to is the reason why you run this is in case you Nibiru'd. So Nibiru is one of the main cards that kills this deck, because this deck doesn't really have a proper Omni negate. It just really only has like spell trap negates and then negates that target on the field and stuff. So if you get Nibiru'd and then you are able to bring out a water monster, you can use the token to go into Water Charmer, and then on top of that you just need to hope that they have a water monster in their graveyard that you can summon to then keep going. And that I don't think I have ever had this happen to me when playing Marincess, but I felt it was still important to note, because with Nibiru being such a, like, death sentence for this deck, it's still worth mentioning. But yeah, probably nothing incredible that you'd want to use this for. Now, World Sea Dragon Zeolantis. Here we go. One effect monster. So you could just straight up use one Link 4 if you want, which is really handy. It's really convenient. Can only control one World Sea Dragon Zeolantis. You can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. During your main phase, you can banish all monsters on the field. All of them. Then special summon as many monsters as possible that were banished by this effect to their opponent's fields face up or in face down defense position. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can destroy cards in the field up to the number of co-linked monsters on this card. You don't really use the co-link effect, personally. However, what's funny, so this card is the perfect card to use if you're going second. You would use this card if you're going second, because this basically removes your opponent's monsters from the field. And I know it says that it brings it back. However, what I didn't understand when I first read this card, it took me a bit to understand it, but what you would do is, you remember Blue Slug? Count special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except water monsters. Count special summon except water monsters. Where is it? Yep, water monsters. Water monsters. Water monsters. So, your opponent isn't special summoning their monsters back. You are. So what you would do is you would bring your monsters back, and the opponent, who hopefully is not playing a water deck, or rather, hopefully is playing a water deck if you want to use the water charmer, but more than likely they're not playing a water deck, so you would basically bring your entire force back onto your field, and the opponent would have nothing, because you can't bring them back. It's so funny. That's just really funny. And for that reason, it's definitely worth having this card in your deck. And then finally, we have number 4, Stealth Kraken. 2 level 4 water monsters. All face-up monsters on the field become water. Once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, you can destroy one water monster your opponent controls, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the attack it had on the field. If this Xyz summon card is destroyed, you can special summon Stealth Kraken spawns from your extra deck up to the number of materials this card had, and you can attach up to 1 water monster from your graveyard to each of the special summon monsters. You don't care about that last effect, really. You only really care about all monsters on the field becoming water, and then being able to destroy water monster your opponent controls. And this is the best this is the best rank 4 monster for Marincess. Mostly because the other rank 4s, they're not that great, unfortunately. Except, of course, for Bahamut Shark. However, I think you all know this, but Bahamut Shark, Abyss Dweller, totally awesome. Good luck using them, because they're basically banned in TCG, Master Duel, and in Genesis. It is literally look, it is literally 81. They did this on purpose. It is physically impossible for you to use both of these 2 monsters unless you're in a format that is using a point cost higher than 100. Yeah. So you're not going to use these, but in case you're curious, you used to be able to use Bahamut Shark, and then Bahamut Shark you would detach a material to summon 1 rank 3 or lower water monster, water Xyz monster, and you'd summon Totally Awesome, and that was your Omni Negate. That was what you would use to essentially stop Nibiru, but, you know, we lost that. Understandable, I will say, completely understandable. And then Abyss Dweller, again, you should probably already know this. 2 level 4 monsters, when this card has a material attached that was originally water, all water monsters you control gain 500 attack. Once per turn, detach all material, opponent cannot activate any cards in their graveyard, and it's banned. Yeah, so, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the fact that I can't use Abyss Dweller, because I get it. I totally get it. It had to die. These 3 cards had to die. Like, oh my god. Alright. Okay. So, now let us move on to the other cards that are more or less not Marincess related. in the main deck anyway. Okay, so moving on, we have Marincess. When a water monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can banish one face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control, then target one face-up card on the field. Negate its effects until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use each effect of Marincess once per turn. So, fish, water monster, it's not really Cyverse, it's not Marincess, it's not Cyverse, but what makes it really good is because of its effect, you can just bring it on the field, and yeah, it's not a quick effect on Omni negate or quick effect target negate, you know, like there's no quick effect behind it, okay? But it's a level 4, so you can go in a Stealth Kraken, and unlike Aqua Angel, it's not once per duel, so it's definitely worth using this. And also, you can still use it with some of the other Marincess Link monsters, like Marincess Call an Enemy. You just could not use it with Blue Slug or Sea Angel, because they are both Marincess Monster specific. Yeah, so definitely worth having one or two of these in your deck. Now, get ready. Get ready. Are you sat comfortably? Are you ready? Just hang tight, alright? Because this is where it gets absolutely toxic. Just so disgusting. You will absolutely despise it, okay? But also, you have to respect just how crazy... Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it, okay? Adularia of the June Moon. If you control a face-up card in your spell and trap zone, which you will, because bear in mind, Marincess Battle Ocean, when you link some Marincess monster, equip up to 3 Marincess Link monsters, it counts, it does work, you can, because it's counted as a spell, or something like that. Face-up card in your spell trap zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. Just bear in mind, it is Spellcaster, so if you were to use Splash Mage, it says here that you are basically locked into Cyverse, so make sure you do not use Splash Mage if you want to go down this line, okay? Keep that in mind, alright? You can only special summon Adularia of the June Moon once per turn this way. I'm just going to call her June Moon, okay? You can send 2 face-up cards from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard, which, bear in mind, Marincess Battle Ocean, its effect to equip monsters from the graveyard to your monster, that's not once per turn, so it doesn't matter, you can do that. So you send the 2 monsters with June Moon to the graveyard, send 1 level 4 lower monster from your deck to your graveyard. Now, do you see where this is going? Do you see where this is? Remember when I said you can target 1 water monster with 1500 or less attack? It's not Marincess specific, so you would just send... This is legal on Master Duel. I don't know what I don't know how this is still legal on Master Duel. The fact that you can summon June Moon, send Barrier Statue of the Torrent, and then Barrier Statue of the Torrent bring back with Call an Enemy, and then they won't be able to beat over it, because if you have enough materials, you can go into Aqua Agonor, opponent monster can't attack any monsters except this one, and on top of that, if they try and get rid of this through any means at all, boom, Marincess Wave, unaffected. And also, on top of that, if you want to protect it, you also have all your hand traps, you also have the ability to essentially negate any spell trap card effect from Aqua... You just... It's the biggest middle finger to your opponent that I have ever seen in any... Okay, no, there's definitely rogue decks that are... Or not just rogue, just... There have definitely been decks in the past that have just absolutely, like... trolled people so hard, but this is one instance. This is it. Right, let me just show you. If you go on TCG right now, okay, you have Bahamut Shark banned, Abyss Dweller banned, Splash Mage banned, Barrier Statue of the Torrent banned. These cards, like, were all great with Marincess, and because of circumstances more or less outside of the Marincess archetype, they were slowly being completely, like, removed from Marincess's capabilities as time went on, and it sort of made the decks basically, I wouldn't go as far as to say unplayable, but it made it so much harder to utilize. For example, if you had, let's say, for example, that you would run into an instance where you'd have 2 Marincess monsters on your field. If you don't have 3, then unfortunately it would not be anywhere near enough to go into a Link 4. But with Splash Mage, what you do is you would make that a 3. So with Splash Mage, you'd summon it and then go and call an enemy through because you summon a monster, call an enemy, and then Link 4. So if you had just 2 monsters on your field, it was enough to make the Link 4. So now that is more or less impossible because of the fact that Splash Mage is banned. I'm not saying that Splash Mage should be unbanned. Absolutely not. I can understand why it became so annoying to deal with, but it did make playing this deck a lot harder. But this is Master Duel we're talking about. Master Duel. So all of what you are seeing here, apart from, you know, these 3 down here, except I think Totally Awesome is legal in Master Duel, correct? No, I think it's banned in Master Duel, and then it's Bahamut Shark that's legal. Just either way, you can't make this line. So apart from these 3 cards, everything you're seeing on here is allowed in Master Duel. All of this. Yeah, okay, I'm at a loss for words. Like, even now, to this day, I'm still shocked that this is allowed. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, Cynet Mining. You should know this, if you've ever played, like, a Cyverse deck. Send 1 card from your hand to a graveyard, add 1 level 4 lower Cyverse monster from your deck to your hand. Really cool because you could send Marincess Mandarin, Aqua Angel, or Seahorse from your hand to the graveyard, or potentially Basil. And it would actually help you. So it's a situation similar to the Fluffle deck list I made, where if you send Toy Vendor, it's just a net positive for you. Here, it's also a net positive, except even more so, because, like, it would be like you're having more than 1 Toy Vendor, essentially. I mean, granted, Fluffles, they also had Edgent Chain, but anyway, there you go. You just Cynet Mining. You would use it to add Blue Tang or potentially Spring Girl if you want to extend. Now, Gozen Match. Yeah, I know. Look, no one likes Floodgates. Everyone hates Floodgates, but this is really interesting as an interaction. You'll see in a moment. Each player can only control 1 attribute of monster. Send all other face-up monsters they control to the graveyard. Now, let's say you were playing a deck that didn't care about Gozen Match. It did not care. It was just, you know, what could I think of off the top of my head that doesn't care? If I type in Blue Eyes, maybe? Oh, it's one of those ones that you need to put the dash down. Yeah, because they're all, like, light or dark monsters. They don't really care too much. Yeah, all light monsters, more or less. Okay? So it wouldn't normally care about Gozen Match, but do you remember Stealth Kraken? All face-up monsters on the field become water. So, if you have Gozen Match and then Stealth Kraken, you basically pair these 2 together and then just say, hey, so you have a water monster, you can't bring out any light monsters, you can't bring out any dark monsters, wind monsters, none of that, no. Before, a couple years ago, Gozen Match was unlimited. It's limited to 1 now. I'm not complaining. It deserved. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if this got banned. I mean, it's limited on Master Duel as well. The only problem with these strategies, so the June Moon Barrier Statue and the Gozen Match strategy, you basically need to see these cards in your opening hand. That is something that you would really want to see. Because otherwise you would not have any other way of searching these. If you don't have them in your hand, you're not going to be able to utilize them, but that's fine. because you'll still have Aqua Agonaut and that main line, and that's usually good enough. If you do want to gamble, you could use Pot of Desires. You could use this, potentially, to just keep going. Banish 10 cards from top of your deck face down, draw 2 cards. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this, just because you always run into the worry that you'll lose your Battle Ocean. In fact, if you do end up using this, do your best. You should always have Battle Ocean at 2 if you do end up using Pot of Desires. So, yeah, I just wouldn't use it, personally, but it is an option. It's definitely something to consider. And then we get into the staple hand traps. You should know, you should again know these. So Ash Blossom, yes. Ghost Spell. Ghost Spell isn't going to be important because remember of Kewl Tune, these stupid things. Yeah. So Ghost Spell, really good just overall for stopping what they're doing, especially against Kewl Tune Remix, I believe. Yeah, Kewl Tune Remix. Which is a disgusting card that just, yeah. Okay, yeah. So definitely use Ghost Spell if you're in Master Duel this format. Incredibly important. Ghost Ogre. It's just, I don't know how often Ghost Ogre might pop up, but you know, it's there for a hand trap. Draw Lockbird, Nibiru, Effect Failure, Input. All these. Right, it's up to you. If you want to use whatever hand traps you want to use, then use them, but I would highly recommend just using the usual Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell, and Imperm. You know, the bread, butter, and jam. Yeah, bread, butter, and jam. Okay? Or peanut butter. So, last thing to mention is Dominus Impulse. If your opponent controls a card, you can activate this card from your hand. Card is activated, negate that effect. Effect that special summons, negate that effect. If you have a trap in your graveyard, destroy that card, which you realistically won't. Unless you have Imperm, you won't have a trap card in your graveyard. It says if you activate this card from your hand, you cannot activate effects of Light, Earth, and Wind monsters for the rest of this duel. And that is precisely the reason why we are not running Dominus. It is exactly the reason why we're not running Dominus Purge, because that shuts down all our water stuff, and water, all of it is basically water, so yeah, not good. But one thing I do want to mention as well, Light, Earth, and Wind monsters. So, Ash would be fine. Ghost Spell wouldn't be fine. Ghost Ogre would not be fine. Droll would not be fine. Nibiru would not be fine. Effect Veiler would not be fine. So it would shut down about basically all of the hand traps you want. So probably not good to use it in Marincess, just because of that. Because the hand traps, they can be really, really good. Alright, and then you have the Kaiju, and it's a water one, I just want to mention. Yeah, it's just the water Kaiju for board breaking, so Dino Wrestler, Forbidden Droplet. I would actually recommend Forbidden Droplet in Marincess, because what you can do with Forbidden Droplet is you remember equip up to 3 Marincess Link monsters. Now, you don't necessarily need to have all of them. If you know your opponent is playing a deck that is using monsters that don't have extremely high levels of attack, then you can just sacrifice a few, or one even, of your equipped monsters, so as sort of Forbidden Droplet like costs. So definitely run this. It works really well. Cosmic Cyclone, Dark Rule No More, Feather Duster, Lightning Storm Match. You get it. You get it. Last thing I want to mention. The stuff that kills your cards. Right. So, the stuff that stops Marincess, Nibiru, the biggest one, because you don't have an Omni Negate. Yeah. This is the card that... This is the card that you will always dread. It's basically the same sort of feeling you get playing Heroes, or at least I haven't really looked into heroes recently, so they maybe have an Omni-Negate now. I mean, they get support, like, so often. It wouldn't surprise me, but yeah, this is the one card you always just fear when playing this. You always fear it completely. And then on top of that, you also have Ghost Ogre. So Ghost Ogre, if, for example, you use Marincess Blue Slug, and they use Ghost Ogre to get rid of it, that's it. You're done. You're finished. That is over. It's over. Because if you add back Seahorse to your hand, there's no link arrow pointing to where Seahorse can basically go and summon itself to. So you would have nothing. Unless you somehow had Sprinkle in your hand, then you could go into Sea Angel, and then Sea Angel could add you Marincess Dive or Marincess Battle Ocean. Most likely Dive, unfortunately, because of the fact that like you would just need to keep going into Great Bubble Reef. Yeah, it hurts. This really hurts Marincess. And finally, Dimension Shifter. It's at 1. I can't imagine anyone playing it, but you are reliant on your cards being in the graveyard. So if Shifter is activated, send this card from your hand to graveyard until the end of any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Yeah, so because of that, it would hurt. Oh man, yeah. In fact, you also have Dimension... what's it? Yeah, this. Dimensional Fissure, right here as well. That would also hurt you too. So, yeah, just bear in mind of these 3 cards. They're the ones that hurt Marincess the most. When it comes to Draw and Lockbird, something really interesting. You don't really care about Draw and Lockbird, because you're not really searching all too often. You're just sending stuff to the graveyard and then bringing them back from the graveyard to then go into your links. The only time where Draw and Lockbird would hurt you is, let's say you use Marincess Blue Tang, and then they draw and lock you before you use Sea Angel, so you can't get Battle Ocean. That is the only instance in which that Draw and Lockbird would really hurt. So for that reason, what I sometimes like doing is I like saving Blue Tang for when I'm linking into Sea Angel, so I could get both their effects off at the same time in case they draw and Lockbird. And that about covers it. All the Marincess cards that you essentially need or could use. So we'll go into some playtesting and I can show you some combo lines. Okay, so this with the 1-card starter, you have Blue Tang, and this is what you'll be using to get into a Link 4, and this is how we're going to do it. So you will normal summon Marincess Blue Tang. Blue Tang will then send Seahorse, and then now we will go into Blue Slug. Okay, so the best way for you to be able to go down this chain route is if you use Blue Slug first and then use Blue Tang. Now, what will happen is if you're worried that the opponent has a Ghost Ogre, then doing Blue Slug first and then Blue Tang second will what that will mean is it will essentially protect your Blue Slug, and because they won't be able to chain into it to destroy it. And then if they have an Ash Blossom, you can bait the Ash Blossom out with Blue Tang. One of my favourite things to do in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I like playing a bunch of rogue decks that not a lot of people do know about. So what ends up happening is they do often get confused as to what to Ash, because they won't know the deck. So a lot of players in Master Duel, they might just Ash the Blue Tang when really they should have Ashed the Sea Angel. However, for whatever reason, if you don't want your Blue Tang to get Ash Blossomed, then instead I would mostly focus on doing Blue Tang first and then Blue Slug second, but you almost always want to do Blue Slug first and then Blue Tang second. Just... I don't know why you would want to protect your Blue Tang from being ashed, when there's a Sea Angel that needs more protection from being ashed, but for whatever reason, if that's something you're concerned about, you could do that, but let's just focus on doing Blue Slug first to dodge the Ghost Ogre. So you add Seahorse to your hand, and then you would excavate, like so, add one Marincess card, like that, and then special summon to a zone Link monster points to, and then link 1 into Sea Angel. Sea Angel will then add a Marincess Battle Ocean for us. Here we go. Like so. Now, this is what I was referring to before with Splash Mage. Like this. Alright. Because of Splash Mage, it makes our Marincess Blue Tang a 1-card starter along with Seahorse. Because ordinarily you would probably want Spring Girl as well, or potentially Pasculus. But because of Splash Mage, it now just becomes a 1-card starter. Really good. So, it doesn't really matter what, but we will do Seahorse. And then go into 1, 2. Yep, like so. And then see how I said it wasn't once per turn? You have the prompt there. And then activate to revive Splash Mage. And then now we can go into 1, 2, like so. And then again, Ghost Ogre. If you're worried about Ghost Ogre hitting your Battle Ocean, you do Battle Ocean chain 1, and then you do call an enemy chain 2. So an enemy, I would add back Recursion for next turn, but given that we already have Marincess Blue Tang, we'll just add back Seahorse. And it's important to keep note of how many Link monsters that are in your graveyard whenever you do commit to your Link 4, because if you have less than 3, then it's just going to not pan out well. There you go. And so there you have it. The only thing is with the 1-card starter, we're not able to utilize Crystal Heart, and we won't be able to utilize Marincess Coral Triangle. But for the most part, you have your boss monster. It's still a really good spell trap negate, and even if you have one Marincess monster in your hand that led you into this line, you would most likely either have board breakers or you would have hand traps, so you would still have more ways to oppress the opponent with. Alright, so this is the 2-card starter, and this is much better. This is a much better line in order for you to get all the crazy stuff that is going to allow for your boss monster to become a massive tower. So, here we go. You would summon Marincess Blue Tang just like before. Once doing so, instead of sending Seahorse, because we have Seahorse in the hand now, send Aqua Angel. I mean, you could also send Mandarin, but Aqua Angel, I would much prefer. Aqua Angel, activate, like so. And now, this is good, this is good. So, you would link, like so. And then, what you would do is you would go chain 1 to add back, because you might as well, and then chain 2, look at your opponent's hand and all face down cards in control. So yeah, we know what the opponent has now, like that. And what's really good as well through this method is we didn't search the deck once. We didn't search the deck. So, what that means is we can just do this. Chain 1 and chain 2 to block the Ash, like that. And now, because again we did that, it means that if they draw and Lockbird us now, it doesn't matter, because we're not going to be searching into our deck again. I mean, well, we will, because I'm going to show you the Coral Triangle line, but the Coral Triangle line is not necessary in order to make a good end board. It's just a nice bonus. If you know for a fact the opponent has no hand traps. I mean, we did use Trickstar Aqua Angel, so if you know that they don't have hand traps, go absolutely ballistic, crazy, build the coolest end board ever and all that, alright? At least if you know that they don't have anything, alright? So, you would then special summon. So now you have 3 monsters, okay? Now, here's what you would do. So, you would go 1, 2, like this, and then activate. It doesn't really matter what we summon. Oh, cannot forget this. Cannot forget that. Do not forget that. Don't forget that. Okay. Don't forget to activate it. Okay. And then now we do call triangle. So we go 1 and 2. Again, it doesn't really matter. Like that. And then Marincess call an enemy, add back to hand, like that. Cool. Now, what's really good about using Marincess call an enemy to add back to hand is by doing this method, you can always guarantee a discard for call triangle. So call triangle, discard, and then add, like so. And then once again, 1, 2, like that. And then Battle Ocean, much like before. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Yep. And there you go, and now we have Marincess Wave, which will make this unaffected by the opponent's card effects. And if they try and do something, like let's say they try to use a spell like Raigeki or Lightning Storm to get rid of it, that is exactly why we have the effect to negate a spell or trap. So, really good. I'll show you the next line. Okay, so the same hand as before, except we're going to go slightly different this time. Summon, effect, and just for the sake of showing off Mandarin, I'll send Mandarin. Go like this. Now, of course, obviously, it's better to instead send the Trickstar to the grave, because you're at risk of getting Drolled here. I mean, unless you don't want to activate Blue Tang, but, you know, you do want to. So you target, add, and then do that. Chain block. Add to hand. If you're wondering why you're seeing the same monsters being excavated, it's because I've set it up so that it's always the same. Like, this is just testing, so it's just examples. Alright, summon this. Go into like so, and unfortunately there's nothing to chain block Sea Angel again, so just a warning. Alright, add to your hand Battle Ocean, and then we control 2 Marincess Link monsters, and we have a link arrow pointing here, meaning like so, target, special and defense position, and cannot forget Battle Ocean. And then this is the more direct and defensive line. So you would summon Crystal Heart, and then you would summon Call an Enemy. And you don't have to activate it, but again, you know, it just always pops up. It's always a prompt, like that. And what's really funny, what is really funny, is your opponent cannot negate Call an Enemy to revive Crystal Heart because you linked Crystal Heart with it. So if they try doing that, yeah, Rude Awakening. 1, 2. And go chain 1 to block the Ghost Ogre, and then chain 2 to add back to hand. Let's add back Seahorse. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Yeah, so now, summon with Marincess Crystal Heart underneath Battle Ocean, so now, irregardless of the trap card, it is just unaffected completely, and it is unaffected as long as Battle Ocean is on your field. Again, really cool. Alright, I'll show you the next combo line again. Okay, so we now have Spring Girl and Pasculus in our hand. So, here's what I would recommend. So, summon Pasculus. Pasculus, Blue Tang. So now you have 2 level 4s on the field. Activate. Send... Yeah, still send Seahorse. Still send Seahorse. Don't hold off on Stealth Kraken just yet. That's what we're going to do. That's the line we're going with. Hold off on it. Blue Slug. Oh, actually, I sort of misplayed there. You would ideally want to you would want to use Blue Slug on Pasculus and then save Blue Tang. Well, but then you wouldn't have another level 4. Right. Make sure you keep a level 4 on your field, okay? At least one level 4, because we're going to use Springle in just a moment, alright? So I think it probably would just be Blue Tang. So go 1 to add back Seahorse, and then yep, to excavate. 1, 2, 3, add to hand, and add to hand, special summon, and then yep, same as usual. It becomes muscle memory after a while. It becomes muscle memory. It's not easy. Sorry, it's pretty easy to pilot this deck, I would say. After you get used to it. Okay, next, activate. You would then banish like so. Yep. Bring out. Now you would do this. And the reason you do this now, okay, is Stealth Kraken is a Aqua, okay? And we are going to go into Splash Mage, which remember, Splash Mage cannot special summon for rest of turn except Cyverse monsters. So now it's the same as before. So activate, summon it here, then you go into 1, 2, like so. Oh, didn't mean to activate it, but it's just one of those good examples. Summon this, and yep, 1, 2, like so, and you go chain 1, chain 2, like so. Yeah, return for recursion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so now you have Stealth Kraken, and you know, friendly reminder, we could have potentially have gotten Spring Girl through excavating with Blue Tang, so that would have added even more to just like even if it doesn't look like you can go into the Stealth Kraken line, the excavate it can sometimes surprise you, and it could allow you to go into these lines. And bear in mind, remember Gozen match? Yeah. So once you have this out and Gozen match, but Gozen is limited, so you'll most likely not see it. But this is just oppressive enough. Like it's removal, it's a negate, and then you have whatever hand traps in your hand. Yeah, and unfortunately this is affected by card effects, but you know, you should be able to hold down and protect it just long enough. Cool. Alright, we'll go on to the next one. Okay. So, this would be for if you had Battle Lotion in your hand, alright? Now, one advice I have to give, do not fire this off instantly. In fact, there is, when it comes to Marincess, there is 2 states of turn 1. There is pre-Sea Angel and post-Sea Angel. So, there's the phase before you get to her, to use her to basically get the Battle Lotion, and then the phase after. Once you have Sea Angel, you more or less don't need to worry too much about the hand traps. So it's just this level of anxiousness towards getting to Sea Angel. But if you activate Battle Ocean right now, then the opponent is going to... what will happen is, the opponent won't use it on Sea Angel. So if you have Battle Ocean in your hand, you then want it to be on the... I am fumbling my words so hard, but it's fine. I'm just going to keep it in. You would basically let the angel get impermed, and then you would then just throw out Battle Ocean, and this saves your other cards from getting hand trapped as well. Because instead, if you activate Battle Ocean, and the opponent would know not to Ash the Sea Angel, and then it would probably Ash something or imperm something even worse or even more valuable for you. So again, same as before, summon, activate. Because we have Seahorse in our hand, let's do Aqua Angel, summon out. It's once per duel, but that's fine. Do this, avoid Ghost Bell, like so. And then we look at the hand. Yep, it's all fine. And then now, like this, Go 1 and 2. Yep, and then in this instance, they would probably use imperm. So if they have impermed, then you wouldn't be able to add anything. But in this instance, because let's say they don't have a hand trap, you can add Marincess Dive, which is really good. It's even better now. So we'll activate it, and now let's activate Marincess Dive. Special summon a Marincess monster from your deck. So let's special summon Pasculus. Pasculus effect. Let us bring out, yeah, Aqua Angel. And then now we can go into Stealth Kraken, like that. And then what's really good as well is because we still have Seahorse, and then we can just keep snowballing from there. So 1, 2, like so. Nope. Activate, like so. And then, yeah, this. 1, 2. Yep. And then activate. Add back to hand the recursion. And then activate, do this, add this. And then end it all off with Aqua Argonaut. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There. So now we have Stealth Kraken, Marincess Wave, Aqua Argonaut. Amazing. Just amazing. And the thing is, if you don't feel like you want to go into Stealth Kraken, you could always use the 2 extra monsters that you use for the Stealth Kraken to instead go into Marincess Crystal Heart. Like that. And it give it even more protection. Also, while I'm here, I might as well show you World Sea Dragon Zealantis. You would sacrifice, bring it out, activate, and then return, and the opponent's field would be completely gone, because if you remember, we used Blue Slug and Call an Enemy, which locks us into only water monsters. Where is it? Yes, special summon monsters for rest of this turn, except water monsters. Like that. Yeah. And you would never set Marincess Wave because you'd always have like a link for Marincess monster in your hand. Just in the instances where you don't, in the instances where you have like a link 2 or link 1, you would set it, but that almost doesn't really happen. The only time where you would need to do that is if you haven't searched for it, if it just came in your hand, and your starting hand, and yeah. Right. I'll show you one last combo. Okay, now, this is going to be the toxic play. I've saved the best for last, alright? Get ready. So, if you're going first, here's what you would do. Normal summon Marincess Blue Tang. Do the usual. Seahorse. You would then go chain 1. Add. Chain 2. Like so. Add. Summon. It's the same that you're used to. It's the exact same lines. Exact same everything. Let's see. Yeah. Had one of them moments. Okay. Right. And now you would go into Call an Enemy. Like so. Now, activate. The thing is, you have to activate Battle Ocean, okay? Activate Battle Ocean. Here we go. Like that. Now, do not hold off on using Call an Enemy just yet. Don't use it just yet, okay? Instead, we can now special summon June Moon because we control its face-up card in the spell and trap zone. You would then use June Moon, 1, 2, send, to then send to the graveyard, barrier statue, and then, and now, summon it, like that. Just like that, literally. And, it's let's see. Go, oh no, that's not good. You then go 1, 2. Yeah. Cool. Yep. Activate and then activate. So add to hand or add Seahorse to hand. Go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Like so. And then this to add. Now, there you have it. There you have it. And the thing is, if you have more ways of extending, like, for example, if you had Spring Girl in your hand, you could have gone into the Link 4. It was possible. But what's really good as well, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, send one Marincess. For that battle, monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So this is a good alternative as well. If you cannot go into what's it called? If you cannot go into Link 4 using this method, but you still want to get Barrier Statue to the Torrent out, and you still want a way to protect it, this is a good way of doing it. This is a good way of protecting your Barrier Statue, because if the opponent tries to swing into it, you could just discard and go from there. If they do have a like way of removal, like Raigeki or something, then yeah, that wouldn't be too good. However, saying that though, if you just did have more extenders, you would have been able to go into Agonaut and then negated it, and it's just incredible. It's just completely incredible. The fact that we can do this on Master Duel of all things. And one last thing I want to say as well, remember, if Battle Ocean, if you cannot search for this, instead just go into Marincess Great Bubble Reef. In fact, I'll give an example right now. So, let's say, let's pretend that this doesn't activate and that we have to end on Great Bubble Reef, okay? Let's go to the end phase. It'll be the opponent's turn, and then standby phase, we can do this. Let's banish June Moon. Yep, and then we draw a card, and it might be a hand trap that'll help us. Like so. Yeah. And then again, on your stand, if they haven't managed to get rid of it, you can do it again on your standby phase, like that. Yeah. Oh, and Minai Ruka, because you activate the effect. So send to the graveyard. Yeah. Like that. And then summon it out. And then summon. Just. Yeah. Pretty good. And then you can keep going. It just keeps going and 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 going. Yeah. One last thing. I promise this is the last thing. Sometimes it is worth keeping June Moon on your field, because gain 600 attack and defense for each face-up spell trap on the field. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts this about. Oh my god, it puts it about like 3,400. It gets stupid high, and if the opponent has face-up spells and traps as well, it can go even higher. But on average, this will be a 3,400 attack, and it's just an incredible like way of doing more damage as well, and just having a big monster. But yeah, that is everything that you would want to know about Marincess for the most part. I will show you the deck list, and then we'll do some games. Okay, so here's the deck list on Master Duel. We have Marincess Mandarin, 1 copy of Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Seahorse, 1 Barrier Statue of the Torrent. I told you, I don't know how this is allowed, but yeah, Barrier Statue. Right. Marincess Blue Tang, 3 of them. 2 Marincess Pasculus, 1 Basil, 2 Spring Girl, 1 Minai Ruka, 3 copies of Molcharmi Prulia, or you could have 3 copies of Frualos. Personally, I would probably. It depends. It's format dependent. It's really format dependent. I'll just have Prulia in here though for now. So 3 copies of whatever Mole Charmer you want, 1 copy of Trickstar Aqua Angel, 2 copies of June Moon, 2 copies of June Moon, 3 Signet Mining, 2 Marincess Dive, 2 Battle Ocean. I know we're not using Desires, but sometimes it's good just to have 2 in case the opponent banishes one of them or does something with one that you can't get back. Called by the Grave, 1 copy, 1 copy of Crossout, 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, 3 copies of Imperm, 1 Marincess Wave, 1 Goes and Match. And then for the extra deck, 1 Stealth Kraken, 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 an enemy, 1 Crystal Heart, 1 Splash Mage. The Water Charmer, I just threw in there just as a reminder in case anyone wants to play the Water Charmer. However, I get it if you would instead just want to have a second copy of Aqua Argonaut, because having 2 copies of Aqua Argonaut, like, in case one is gone and you need another. But yeah, where is it? Yeah, there you go. So, Charmer or another copy of Aqua Argonaut, Marbled Rock, Coral Triangle, Great Bubble Reef, one or two copies of Aqua Argonaut, and then Zealantis. Yeah. And with that, it basically just boils down to consistency. You want as much consistency as possible, which is why, like, I have 3 copies of the Seahorse and Blue Tang, and you also don't want to clutter the deck too much with, like, cards that aren't really a part of the one card starter, like Pasculus, because Pasculus is still really good, but it more so works in tandem with Dive and Blue Tang and everything. And you only really want 2 copies of Dive. You shouldn't need 3. You're only really activating once per turn, and it's searchable. So it's only really good to have 2. So you could have 1 on your first turn, and then another for the next turn. Yeah. And that is mostly it, essentially. What I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase some games just like I did last time with the Fluffle video. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to see if I can try and climb the rank up a bit, because truth be told I haven't played in a while. I'm on silver rank. So I'll try and get up to around gold rank or maybe even platinum and go from there. So I'll get to doing the testing with the decks. Hey, so while editing this video, I realized a few important things I should definitely mention, the biggest one being that I was in silver rank. Now, I know a few people may take issue with me making a video about a deck when it appears that I'm at a low rank, but rest assured, I do have some reasons for this. I did just mention that I haven't played in a while, and it's because I got really burnt out from the game 2 years ago when Fire King Snake Eyes was released. That format absolutely killed my enthusiasm for the game for almost 2 years. On top of that, I had been playing the TCG for 3 years, and I was burnt out, so I took a long break as a result. I've quickly learned about Kewl Tune, or rather, Kewl Tune, and I'm currently gravitating towards Red Dragon Archfiend for the new support. Also, during the filming for this video, I managed to climb up to Platinum rank and attained over 10 wins in a row within Gold rank. This then brings me on to the next issue I wanted to bring up, which was that I didn't feel comfortable showcasing the deck in Silver or Gold rank. The reason why being that I didn't want people to think that the deck can't perform well in Platinum or Diamond rank. So I spent the past 2 days just grinding and grinding and grinding in the ranks, and now that I've hit Platinum, I still have more grinding to do to get footage and to potentially hit Diamond rank. As for the footage I do currently have, while there's some clips I'm happy with and will showcase in the video, I noticed I had a pattern with the games I had. Because I wasn't losing much, it meant that I didn't have footage of me losing. And I'm the kind of person that tries to be fair when making Yu-Gi-Oh videos. I don't want to cherry pick my games to make the deck appear the best ever made when in reality it consistently loses, so not having much losing footage was a problem for me. Another issue was that I was struggling to find good games of me going second. I want to showcase that Marincess can perform well going second because I feel it's important to display how the deck performs in as many situations as possible. Again, because I don't want to cherry pick. I want people watching to know as much information about the decks I'm talking about as possible, so not having that footage was a problem. Most of the footage I have of me going second was not, it wasn't really feasible to show because all it boiled down to was me using the mulch armies or max C and then just building a gigantic hand and destroying the opponent. That, or the opponent just didn't really play a deck that was as engaging, and what I mean by that is they weren't playing a deck that I felt like I was actively struggling against and was bringing out the full potential of Marincess. So I just didn't really have enough good footage of me going second. Now, while editing this video, a Master Duel ban list kicked in as well. Thankfully, it didn't affect Marincess seeing how Barrier Statue and Splash Mage went untouched, but I wasn't sure if it was fair to show off the games I had in the previous ban list, though I ultimately came to the conclusion that the games I did have had aged fine with the ban list, so I'll still show them off here. To wrap things up, the footage you're about to see is of the games I had with Marincess, with about a 50-50 ratio of being played in gold and platinum. If there's any other issues, please respectfully let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to improve my content for the next time I make a Yu-Gi-Oh video. So, without further ado, here it is. And there you have it, a complete guide to Marincess in Master Duel. Honestly, this deck is a lot of fun. It's like you could do a lot with it. Unfortunately, it is a lot more linear in comparison to other decks. Like you always want to try and make the exact same end board. But in that sense, it could make the deck a lot easier for some people who want to try it out. And, you know, just for those who really want to abuse Barrier Statue. In all honesty, this video has been a complete nightmare to make. Just, this is probably the hardest video I've ever had to make, not to exaggerate, but just, I wanted to get everything as right as possible. The editing was hellish, having to, like, find all the music, manage to get all the right clips, make sure they all work, and I don't know if you noticed, but I made sure to try and blur out all the names, because, you know, I don't want to put, like, names in this video. I feel like that would just be a bit too reckless on my part, but it's done. It is done. This is the last recording I'm going to do, and then it's basically going to be exported. So, with that said, hope you had, you know, insightful knowledge of Marincess and let you're interested in playing the deck, because it is really cool just sitting on a towers and just watching as like people try and figure out what to do with your deck. There are stuff you can tweak, of course. This list isn't perfect. I've said before the the water charmer, you could completely cut that out. I just don't entirely know what you would want to replace. Perhaps, obviously, well, you know, you can have another Aqua Agnaut, but unfortunately, the only issue is that because it's a UR, and this deck is kind of stacked with a lot of URs, I don't really know of any budget options, so this is just mostly what you're going to have to do. You could also cut out Stealth Kraken for budget options. Just, I'd say, as long as you have, let's see, yeah, this is pretty budget. This is pretty budget. Because yeah, this is only, if you really want to commit to it, you only have like the 3 ultra rares and then 2 in the extra deck, and even then, like this one, you won't always have to go into, like, if you don't want to use Marincess Wave. So yeah, this is possible to just use as a budget deck if you want. It won't be as good, but or as consistent, but it will be like well enough for you to climb up. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what else to say. I'm just muddling my words, so I'll just end the video here. With that said, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, please let me know. Let me know also if the videos are like too long, if I could cut it down, because I do have a tendency to go through everything in a deck, and if you want like the videos to just sort of be trimmed down a lot more, like if you want me to cut out stuff, let me know. I want to figure out how I can keep improving. Like, this is only my second Yu-Gi-Oh video, and also, what are you interested in? Master Duel, TCG, Genesis? And I'll try and fulfill that. But yes, with that said, thank you, and I will see you later. Bonya.